I used to think silence was comforting. Now silence feels like someone holding their breath in the corner of the room, waiting. It started a week after I moved into the old house on Sycamore Lane. The realtor had called it full of character, which I quickly learned was code for drafty windows, groaning pipes, and wallpaper peeling like dead skin. Still, the rent was cheap, and I told myself the quirks gave it charm. The first night was uneventful, just me, a mattress on the floor, and a single lamp. The second night, though, I woke at 3:12 a.m. to the sound of footsteps above me. Slow, deliberate creaks traveled across the ceiling. I froze. The attic was the only thing above my room, and I hadn't been up there yet. I listened for minutes that stretched like hours, waiting for the sound to stop. It did, abruptly, as though whoever or whatever was up there had realized I was listening. I convinced myself it was just the house settling. Old beams expand, shift, complain. But the rhythm had been too measured, like someone pacing. By the fourth night, the noises weren't just above me, they followed me. If I stood in the kitchen, a faint shuffle would echo in the hallway. If I sat on the couch, a floorboard groaned in the corner of the room where nobody stood. It was subtle enough that I doubted myself. Maybe I was jumpy, new to the house's quirks. On the seventh night, something changed. I awoke again around 3 a.m., not to footsteps this time, but to the weight of something pressing against my mattress. The dip was slight but unmistakable, like someone had sat down beside me. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't move, didn't open my eyes. I told myself, don't look. If you look, it will be real. The weight lifted after what felt like forever. The room was silent, save for the frantic pounding of my heart. The next morning, I forced myself into the attic. Dust choked the air, and cobwebs laced the rafters. Boxes sagged with age, their labels faded to nothing. In the corner, I found an old trunk. Inside, beneath yellowed linens, lay a stack of photographs. Most were portraits of a family, a stern father, a mother with sharp eyes, and a little girl with hair pinned in curls. In one, the girl clutched a porcelain doll, its painted face cracked. On the back of the last photo, someone had scrawled, "Clara, 1912. That night, Clara visited me. I woke to the sound of whispering, faint as a breath against glass. I sat up, straining to hear. The words were indistinct, but the tone was pleading, urgent. The air had grown icy, my breath misting in the dark. Then, from the corner of the room, I saw her. A small figure stood by the wall. The light from the street lamp outside bled through the curtain, catching the pale outline of a child. She was translucent, her edges blurring into shadow, but her eyes, dark, endless pits, fixed on me with such intensity that I couldn't look away. "Go," she whispered, though her mouth barely moved. The sound filled the room, layered and hollow, as though many voices spoke at once. I wanted to scream, to run, but my body refused. My chest tightened, my hands shook. Then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she was gone. Morning brought no comfort. Every shadow seemed deeper, every creak louder. I avoided mirrors, afraid of what might look back. I stopped sleeping. Nights became a ritual of waiting, listening for her return. And she did return. Sometimes I'd glimpse her reflection in the dark window while I cooked dinner. Sometimes I'd wake to the sensation of fingers brushing my hair, light as spider silk. Once, I found the doll from the attic trunk sitting at the foot of my bed, though I hadn't brought it downstairs. The house wanted me to leave, or Clara did, but I couldn't, not yet. I needed to understand. 2 nights ago, I made the mistake of speaking to her. "Clara," I whispered into the dark. "What do you want?" The air grew thick, heavy, as though the house itself inhaled. Then she appeared, closer than ever, standing right beside my bed. Her face was pale, streaked with shadows that seemed to writhe beneath her skin. Her mouth opened unnaturally wide, and a sound poured out, like 100 voices screaming underwater. "Get out!" they shrieked. I clamped my hands over my ears, tears burning down my cheeks. When I dared to look again, she was gone. But the message was clear. I packed a bag the next morning, yet here I am, writing this, still in the house. Something roots me here, a curiosity that outweighs fear. Maybe I want proof that I'm not losing my mind. Maybe I feel sorry for Clara, trapped in a place that will never let her rest. Tonight will be my last night. The house is silent now, but it's the wrong kind of silence, the kind that hums, waiting to break. I can feel her watching from the hallway. The air is colder than outside. My lamp flickers as I write these words. If I'm gone tomorrow, if no one hears from me again, maybe someone will find this. Maybe they'll understand. The silence has broken. Footsteps are coming down the hall. Slow, deliberate. She's here.
I used to take the night bus home from my late shift. It was always nearly empty, just a driver too tired to care, and me sitting in the back where the fluorescent lights flickered the least. Last Tuesday, the bus pulled up as usual, brakes hissing in the dark. I stepped inside, tapping my card, and noticed something odd. The driver didn't look at me. He kept his eyes locked on the road, even though we weren't moving yet. His hands gripped the wheels so tight his knuckles were bone white. "Late again," I muttered, trying to ignore him. The bus groaned forward. Street lamps smeared past the window like melting stars. Normally, there would be at least 1 or 2 passengers, someone hunched over their phone, a drunk trying not to pass out. But tonight, it was just me. We passed my usual stop. I yanked the pull cord, and the dull ding echoed through the empty cabin, but the bus didn't slow down. "Hey," I called out. No answer. The driver's reflection in the overhead mirror showed his mouth moving, mumbling words I couldn't hear. His lips were trembling, like he was whispering a prayer. "Stop the bus!" I shouted, standing up. That's when he finally turned his head. For half a second, I saw his face. His eyes were gone. Just smooth skin stretched where they should have been. The bus lurched violently, throwing me back into my seat. When I looked again, his face was normal. Eyes tired, but there. I thought maybe I was seeing things, so I sat still, gripping the seat until my knuckles hurt. But then I noticed the windows. The streets outside weren't familiar anymore. No gas stations, no sidewalks, no signs, just endless black woods pressing up against the glass, branches scraping like claws. I pulled the cord again. Ding! Nothing. The air grew heavy. Every breath felt like inhaling dust. The fluorescent lights above me buzzed louder, flickered, and went out, leaving me in a thin wash of moonlight. That's when the bus started to fill. Not with people, with shadows. They slid in through the cracks of the windows, tall and crooked, like figures bending themselves to fit inside. They didn't make a sound, but I felt them watching me. I ran to the front, reaching for the driver, but his seat was empty. The wheel spun on its own, jerking left and right, yet the bus stayed perfectly straight, gliding down that black road. I turned back, and the shadows had taken seats, row after row, all facing forward like obedient passengers. Their heads twitched whenever I moved. I wanted to scream, but my throat locked up. I pressed the red emergency exit button. Nothing happened. I smashed at the windows, but the glass only rippled like water. The bus slowed. Ahead, through the windshield, I saw a stop, a single sign glowing faintly in the dark, letters scratched into it. Last stop. The doors hissed open. Cold air rolled in, carrying the smell of rust and soil. The shadows stood in unison, filing out silently. One by one, they melted into the woods until only I remained. Something inside me said I should follow, that this was where I was meant to go. I didn't. I stayed frozen in my seat until the doors shut again. The bus started moving, empty now except for me. When I woke up, it was morning. The bus was parked in the depot, locked. The driver was found outside, slumped against a wall, his eyes carved out of his skull. I haven't taken the bus since, but sometimes when I close my eyes, I hear that dull ding. And I know one day I won't be able to ignore the call to get off at the last stop. It started with a missed call, unknown number, no voicemail. I thought nothing of it until it rang again the next night, same time, 3:17 a.m. I don't usually answer unknown numbers, but after the third night I gave in. The line was dead. Not silence, dead, like pressing a seashell to your ear and hearing the ocean drained of water. The fourth night, it left a voicemail. I didn't play it right away. Something about seeing one new message at that hour made my stomach knot. But curiosity got me. I pressed play. Breathing, slow, deliberate. Then, faintly, my name, stretched into a whisper like the speaker's mouth was inches from the microphone. I deleted it, or at least, I thought I did. The notification kept returning, one new voicemail, always time-stamped 3:17 a.m. The next message was longer, the same voice, closer, rasping words I couldn't make out until the end. Check the window. I froze. The blinds were down. The streetlight outside leaked in thin strips of orange, and between those strips, movement. A shadow where no shadow should have been. I didn't look again. I stopped answering calls, but the voicemails piled up. My carrier showed no record of them, no missed calls, no data, just my phone buzzing at 3:17 every morning. By the 10th message, the voice wasn't whispering, it was laughing. A broken, wheezing laugh that cut off mid-breath, like someone choking. Between gasps, I could hear something else. A second voice, higher, repeating the same words. Almost there. I smashed my phone the next morning, took the battery out, tossed it in the trash, bought a new one, new number. That night, the new phone rang. Unknown number, 3:17 a.m. I stopped sleeping, I stopped eating. My friends thought I was unraveling. Maybe I was. But then one of them, Ben, stayed over to prove it was all in my head. At 3:17, my phone lit up. His face drained. "Don't answer," I whispered. The ringing stopped. A voicemail notification blinked on screen. Ben grabbed the phone and pressed play before I could stop him. It was his voice. His. Panicked, desperate, screaming my name, like he was being dragged away from the phone while calling out. Then, silence. The timestamp read, tomorrow, 3:17 a.m. Ben left that night. He didn't return my texts. The next evening, his sister called me sobbing. He'd gone missing on his way home. Now the voicemails aren't just at 3:17. They come at random hours, piling up faster, sometimes 3 or 4 in a row. I don't even need to press play anymore. I hear them as soon as the phone buzzes. The laughter, the choking, the promises, and always at the end, check the window. Last night, I caved. I pulled the blinds. At first, there was nothing, just my reflection in the glass, gaunt and hollow-eyed. But then it smiled. Not me, it. My reflection's lips curled into a grin I didn't make, its teeth too sharp, too many. It raised a hand and tapped the glass from the other side, the sound echoing through my phone speaker at the exact same moment. And then, in my own warped voice, it whispered, almost there. I used to live alone in a crammed studio apartment. The kind where every sound from your neighbors seeps through the walls. I never really noticed the mirror until it started acting wrong. It wasn't special, just a tall, cheap thing nailed to the bathroom door. But one night, brushing my teeth, I caught it. My reflection was still brushing after I'd already lowered my hand, just half a second behind. I told myself it was fatigue, fluorescent bulbs flicker, brains misfire, no big deal. But the lag grew. Sometimes my reflection would freeze for a whole second, then catch up all at once. Once it kept moving after I'd gone still, like it was finishing an action it wanted to do. That was the night I started leaving the bathroom light on, door shut. A week later, I came home to find the door wide open. The bulb inside buzzed faintly, but I swear the light dimmed when I stepped closer, like the mirror knew I was there. I tried to shut the door. My reflection didn't move. It just stood, wide-eyed, lips stretched into a smile so unnatural it looked painful. I froze, door half closed, staring at that version of me. Its teeth were bared, like it was about to laugh or bite. And then it waved. Not a normal wave, a twitchy, jagged thing, like marionette strings were tugging its arm. I slammed the door and shoved my dresser in front of it. That night, I slept on the couch with the TV blaring to drown out the sound of tapping, soft at first, then insistent, a fingertip drumming against glass. I should have left, but fear does strange things. It makes you freeze in place, waiting for proof that you aren't losing it. The proof came 3 nights later. I woke to silence. No tapping, no hum of the bathroom light, just stillness. Relieved, I stumbled toward the bathroom, thinking maybe the bulb had burned out and the mirror was just a mirror again. The dresser had been pushed aside. Inside, the bathroom light was off. The mirror reflected nothing at all. Not me, not the door frame, not the shadows. Just black. As if the glass had been replaced with a window into some void. And then it leaned forward. My reflection emerged from that darkness, features clearer than I'd ever seen them, sharp teeth, eyes too wide, skin stretching as if it had been waiting too long inside. I ran. The hall light flickered as I fumbled for the front door, but it wouldn't unlock. No matter how hard I twisted the bolt, it felt welded in place. Behind me, I heard glass shatter. Their feet padded onto linoleum. A hand gripped my shoulder. It was warm, human, but when I turned, there was nothing. Just my own shadow stretching far too long across the floor, bending at angles the lamps couldn't cast. I don't live there anymore. I left everything, clothes, furniture, even my wallet. I couldn't go back. But sometimes, in shop windows or dark computer screens, I catch it. That split-second delay, the smile blooming too wide. And I know it's only a matter of time before it steps through again.